Hey, hey, my little fabulous weirdos. This is for us. This is for us that feel a little bit like the outsider, that feel like maybe it's not inner child work we have to do, but inner alien. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, sure, we've gotten all the diagnoses, we've looked at our astrological chart, we know we're neurodivergent, we know that there's a lot, quote unquote, wrong with us, but, newsflash. There's actually nothing wrong with you, but maybe what's wrong, and you know this, right? Like, I'm not telling you anything new, but affirming and reminding you that the world is kind of overall boring, repetitive, and underwhelming. So no wonder you're feeling kind of in a mood, not super inspired. Yeah, the world is noisy and dramatic and whatnot, but it's like the same thing over and over. And it's like, can we just like not even change the channel, but get like a whole new network? So this episode is for us. It's our version of a new network that's just a little boost if you're burnt out from the collective noise, if you're a little bit stuck right now and feeling like you don't fit in, if you're burnt out from trying to comply with what everyone else is doing, if you have fears around being alone, I see you. I am you. And let's explore it a little more, shall we?
Danielle Mercurius, time for the show. Danielle, welcome to the show. Danielle Mercurius, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
So I have always felt different from the norm. Again, this is nothing new, right? It's nothing new to realize, oh, I'm not like everybody else. Of course, at a younger age, it's confusing because you don't know why. The matrix that is our society is presented to us on a platter. And it's kind of like, here's the formula, and here's the formula for love. Here's the formula for success. This is what you need to do as far as strategy. This is the timeline that is best served. And if you don't do any of that, well, then you're lazy or disagreeable or too much or going to be alone or broke or not accepted or gossiped about or a problem. Isn't it interesting that those of us that operate in a higher field, a higher plane of thinking, being, actualizing are considered a problem? Because that's the thing, for whatever reason, we chose to be here during a time where society created a really massive template that it wanted us to follow. And the governors of this society like control, and they don't like anything that doesn't serve their narrative. They don't care about art or creativity or innovation or adaptability or making things better for the future. They care about right now and keeping the right now safe and within the parameters of what they believe to be control. Why it's set up this way, I don't know. I wish I had an answer as to why people care that much, why there is this overarching field of quote unquote leaders that possess this dynamic of greed and control and manipulation. I don't know. It's part of this framework. It's part of this template that we dropped into. And that being said, the more you know, the more awareness you have around it, the more it doesn't apply. The more you're like, wait, I don't have to participate in this. And I think the sad part sometimes though is when you have that realization, I don't have to participate in this, I can do my own thing. It's twofold because, well, it's threefold really. There's power in that, and there's excitement in that. There's a realization of my uniqueness can be utilized in a whole new way that's exciting and fun and we'll dive more into that piece. But then there's also like a loneliness that comes from it too, because you're like, oh, like, I don't believe in what everybody else believes, or quote unquote, people believe they believe, or there's a majority of the world that operates this way, and I'm not in that same operating system. And it's likely that most of them aren't either, but they're on their own journey. And then there's a feeling of like, wow, am I on my own? And then there's a feeling like, wow, I want to wake them up. But some people don't want to be woken up. Some people do not want disruption. That's not part of their interest, and they're okay. I can't speak for people, but they're quote unquote okay with complying to the strategy that was provided to them at an early age, because evidence shows that we are more likely to repeat what we learned at an early age than to repeat something we just learned. So it's easier to default and go back to, well, this is what happened in my early years of existence within this framework where I didn't realize I had a say, where my survival needs were based on compliance. So I'm just going to keep repeating that because that's my earliest memory of how to operate. And so I'm just going to keep reverting back to that operating system. But that operating system is outdated. You never know when the updates are coming through. You're kind of left in the dark. Then there's those of us that are like, whoa, 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 whoa. This isn't my programming. This isn't my channel. This isn't why I was sent here, because I do believe that many of us were sent here to wake up, right? And wake up the collective. And we're not waking up the collective to see the love and the light. Yeah, the love and the light is beautiful. And don't get me wrong, I also love the love and the light. And I loved being woke, and I loved working with my healer and making sure that I was away from all these crazy people that still believe the noise. But that's not really what it's about, because that just creates a different kind of isolation and it doesn't really serve the greater purpose. So those of us that are waking up, those of us that were sent here to wake up in a brave, bold way, are not making ourselves then hide out in the love and light camp. That's not really the point. It's temporary relief. And don't get me wrong, I think it's a good gateway. It's a good gateway to be like, oh, like I was just in chaos. Now I'm going to go over to this cushy love bubble that is spirituality. Great. Go hang out there. It's like a spa day, right? Restore, gather some new perspectives, take a little time off from all of it. But then there comes a point where you realize existing in that land may not be part of your purpose either. And again, this is me and my realizations. And if you're with me, you're with me. And we're part of the same lineage. And our lineage is about being weird and embracing it, because what I'm realizing now more than ever, the older I get, the more I exist in this world, whether I like it or not sometimes, the more I understand, the easier it will be is when I let myself be weird, when I let myself be unconventional, when I embrace the uniqueness without it looking at it like it's a punishment or looking at it like it's isolation. And once again, recognizing that I came here to contribute for our future. So if I'm weird now, it actually makes for a better future. Being weird, being different, being unique actually cultivates a better future. We talk about this new world. This new world is not going to be created in the love and light bubble. It again, it helps. It's nice. It's just like a spa day. It's just like any quote unquote self-care day. Self-care days are nice. They're part of it. But like if we were to go into a portal and pop out in this timeline 200 years later and we see that the world is a better place, is it going to be because we all just started getting massages and Reiki? Might be part of it. People might say, wow, I realized that I needed to spend more time taking care of myself. I needed to have someone else support me and take care of me. I needed to tap into higher frequencies. Absolutely. But then what? Okay. Self-care can only take us so far. Self-care is the stepping point. And then there comes a point where you have to leverage that into action that leads into this higher utopian futuristic perspective. And really what that means is us harmonizing in a way where we can see the beauty and the opportunity of change. Clearly, change is inevitable no matter what. If change wasn't part of the framework of humanity, then we would still be hanging out in the cave. We would just literally be in caves, not advancing, or just laying on the floor, or we would have already been wiped out. Think about it that way. If we didn't change, maybe we just would have been wiped out by natural disasters, by animals, by aliens from other places. We don't know. So clearly we're here for a reason. And part of that reason, I believe, is change, because we can look back at history and we look back at change makers. And they were considered, we can look at like Tesla or Einstein or Mozart or all these individuals that we now look at as like almost like innovative heroes. At the time, they were the outcasts too. They were the ones that were like, wait a minute, this music currently sucks. I'm going to create a new track. Insert Mozart, insert Beethoven being like, hey, how about this melody over here? It's recognizing, I think there could be more. I tap into a higher field. I look at life from a more artistic space, from a more left brain, right? Is that right? Left brain perspective. I like to be outside the box. Why are we all doing the same thing over and over again? That's the definition of insanity, right? So we're living in, and I think that's a big piece that I want to bring up too, for a lot of us that feel alienated in this society. We feel alienated because literally we're among people that are doing the same thing over and over and over again. And we're like, wait, what? Why? Why do they just keep doing the same thing over and over? Why do they keep repeating the process? I'm so confused. Insanity is doing the same thing again and again. And what is our society, quote unquote, trying to do? The same thing again and again. But what eventually gets us ahead? The innovators, the change makers, the people that are willing to do things that are different. That's what gets us ahead. So when we talk about the new world, we're talking about people that are brave and bold enough to maybe step in that love and light bubble for a minute, restore, get your, nervous system in order, and then from there, build a bridge into more fun, exciting things. The reason why our society has moved forward in the way that it has is because we're willing to get out of the box. And you might be like, Danielle, society is a shit show right now. Yeah, it is. I mean, and if anything, good. I think right now, I have a couple of feelings around our current society. I mean, look, we love reality TV, myself included. It's how I unwind. It's how I, decompress sometimes. I'm like, you know what I could really use right now? A little Bravo TV. But you know why I like it? Because it's not real. It's not really real. It's not really my life. It's not really reality. Reality TV is entertainment. What is going on in our world is entertainment. And what does entertainment do? It distracts us, right? I'm intentional about my distractions. I am recognizing I am intentionally unplugging from my life and plugging into this entertainment system to be entertained, to be distracted, to step away from my life. I'm aware of that, but I don't think we're aware of a collective as how that's actually happening on a whole, that the powers that be are playing into that. They recognize how much we love entertainment. We love drama. We love suspense. We just do. So if that's the case, great. Use that strategy to conform us, to numb us out, to keep us going crazy. Even we look at the current candidates for the United States election. I know why we chose those two. Everyone's like, I can't believe that it's down to Trump and Biden. Of course it's down to Trump and Biden. What else do we really want? If we had two worthy, stable candidates, do you think we'd actually be happy? No. We love the drama, the jokes, the poking fun, the yelling at each other, the whole thing. It's ridiculous, and we secretly love it. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting, right? That being said, some of us will just be plugged into that narrative for the rest of their life, and that's okay. They get to try again. You get to try again. We always get to try again because consciousness doesn't die. This earth will never die, okay? It always keeps evolving. And the only way that it won't is if for some reason change is so hyper halted, which I don't think will ever happen. Or the only way that will really ever happen is if, the earth combusts in and of itself. But even if it does, guess what? All of our consciousness will be transported to a new plane, to another dimension, to another planet. Who's to say? So if this is the case, I think what I'm just really noticing now more than ever, especially because I'm in a lot of transitions right now, I'm figuring out home. Relationships have been a little wonky for me, so I'm just kind of in this interesting in between space, and this interesting in between is giving me a lot of observation and a lot of reflection, and from that, just kind of recognize, damn, this world is really interesting. And also, this world wants me to feel small, and it wants me to feel bad about myself, and it wants me to be limited, which kind of sucks because that's not how I operate. I'm the type of person that champions for everybody. I want us all to win. I want us all to enjoy and explore and really thrive within this existence and feel utilized and feel capable and feel love. But that's not the overall case. And if that's how it is, then that's how it is. And that's actually empowering. I'm kind of liberated by our world right now because it's so in the space that it's in. It honestly gives me even more permission to be in my personal power. And I think that is purposeful and by design so that I can operate and work on and move forward with the things I feel called to. We talk a lot about the law of attraction in the spiritual industry. I don't think we're all super attractors. You don't need to learn how to attract anything. You don't need to learn how to be magnetic. You constantly are attracting things every single second. You are an amazing manifester. You're alive. If you're alive, you're a manifester. If you want to drink a water, you go get your cup and you fill it with water. Okay. What we're not good at is the claiming of it, the taking it to the next level, the keeping it, the holding on. Because everything that we want, a lot of times what it is that we're calling in wasn't part of that initial presentation that was given to us at an early age. So if what we're trying to manifest isn't the early presentation, isn't what we were programmed to believe at an early age, then that's why a lot of times it falls through. So it's, of course, doing the shadow work, doing the inner child, but then it's doing the inner alien and being like, why am I really here? And how can I bypass this horrible presentation I was given? It's like going to a timeshare presentation, right? Where they're like, buy a timeshare. Here's this beautiful, slideshow that will show you the advantages of buying a timeshare. And don't get me wrong, my parents have like 4 timeshares and they love it. And I love that for them. Maybe I'll inherit one of them. That being said, though, it's like you were given this timeshare style presentation or like this like back in the day MLM presentation of like, yeah, this is how you're going to win at life. And now you're like looking back and you're like, that presentation sucked. That's not how I'm going to win at life. And so it's up to us to delete that programming from the template, to erase that part of us that believed this presentation that was presented to us at an early age, and to recognize we're not going to keep defaulting back to that, to see that we are not the definition of insanity of doing the same thing over and over and over again. That's not how we grow. If we were doing the same thing over and over again, we would literally also still be infants. Okay. The body naturally grows. Our environment grows. Our earth grows. Our thoughts grow. That's part of it. So if you just keep going back to that early childhood programming, you're not growing, you're being stunted. So to manifest, you got to delete that. Because if you don't delete that, guess what? You're going to manifest something, then you're going to go to the old programming. Boop, deletes. Manifest again. Okay. Oh, I got it back. Okay, I'm in it. I'm in the momentum. I'm in the inertia. And then boop, went back to the old programming. Oh, it's not a match. Just kidding. So we've got to delete that match. You're going to say that is not part of why I'm here. When I tap into my inner alien, when I realize that I am a pioneer of a new paradigm, this isn't going to work. And so what you got to do, if you want to manifest, you have to visualize yourself shedding those societal norms, releasing those parts of you that are still unintentionally utilizing old servers of existence. They are outdated. It's time to clear the cache, the cookies, get it the frick out, and then come back to what it is that you're manifesting. If you can, again, manifesting is not a problem. You can do it. I promise. But what you've got to do is be willing to release the old cache, to get the baggage out. And so visualize yourself shedding that. Visualize yourself stepping through those old paradigms and stepping into the new one that you're creating as the beautiful expressed alien that you are. And we've seen it. We know it's possible because we've seen it with other people. We've seen it. Look at Steve Jobs. Yeah, he was kind of a grumpy asshole. I'm not going to commend him on that. He wasn't great at relationships. But from a space as a visionary, he was someone that dropped out of school. That also, what I find so unique about Steve Jobs, it's not like he was okay in tech. He's probably like him and I, probably on the same wavelength when it comes to tech and our abilities. I think I appreciate it about him because what he did was he took his, I would say, above average tech skills and then leveraged it with philosophy, design, creativity, the arts. And it was that hybrid that brought Apple to the next level. It was that hybrid that presented technology to us in a more fun, colorful way. So recognizing that change doesn't, and I think this is where we need to tell ourselves this so our nervous system isn't overloaded, change doesn't mean wipe everything clean and start from scratch. Change means take what you know, take what's been presented to you in a bite-sized way, take what you like the best, right? If you were to sit down and look at your current life, say, what do I like the best? Even though it's not technically the best, I like it, or I'm good at it, or there's something to it, but I know that there's more. Okay, great. Take that. And now let's blend that in with a little bit of creativity, with a little bit of advancement, a little bit of, if I were to look at this from a higher perspective, if I were to look at where this is 5 years from now, what would that look like? And again, you can't do it from the old server. You can't do it as a 3-year-old being programmed. You have to do it as the alien you are, as the visionary you are, as the unique individual that you are, as the innovator you are, as the disruptor that you are, as the rebel that you are. That's where it moves forward. That's where it's more expressed. Now, here's a cool way to help you with this because it can seem a little bit overwhelming in the beginning. I love AI. I'm fully saying it now. I think I was afraid, and I was afraid to. I was a little bit afraid to say I love AI because people are bad mouthing it. And you know what's so interesting too? It's a conversation for another day. Why is it that so many people that are investors in tech are like, oh yeah, AI is scary, or oh yeah, I know I invested in it, or I know I created this program, but who knows what lies ahead? Why are you all saying that? Like, that makes me think that that's a whole nother programming that's going on too. Like, okay, so you're making money off of AI, but then you're like feeding into the narrative that we should be afraid of it and you're not sure what's going to happen. Or you sold your company and now you're like, oh no, like, stop it. Like, stop contradicting. There's some kind of play that's happening there, but more on that another day. Anyway, that being said, why I love AI is you go to ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever your LLM is. Okay. And if you've never done this before, just literally start with ChatGPT. And you're going to say, hey, ChatGPT, my name is Danielle. You can call me D. Right now, I'm working on this. I feel like there's more creativity and innovation and potential that's possible, but I'm feeling a little stuck. I want you to showcase how this thing, let's say you own a restaurant or let's say coffee shop. You own a coffee shop, but you're just like, I don't want to be a typical coffee shop. I want to break the mold. I want to be the coffee shop of the future. Okay, so you're going to tell ChatGPT that I am ready to be, let's just do it right now. Okay, so I just opened up ChatGPT and I'm doing it on my phone. And when you open it up, there's going to be the browser that says message. Next to it is a little microphone. I prefer to talk into ChatGPT as opposed to type because I find that with typing, I sometimes lose my rhythm. I also get bored. And I also find that with talking, it will capture all of my language and then create a summarized experience. It works better for me. Let's go ahead. Hi, Aiden. I am recording an example of how we can utilize AI to enhance our innovation and create more concepts for the future. I'd love to use the example of a coffee shop. Clearly, coffee shops have been around for a really long time, and they started off with your good old coffee and milk. I believe that if we go back to the essence of coffee, really get into the essence of it and leverage it in a way that we can absorb it and utilize it to enhance our thinking and our focus, that would be really wise. I love the idea of bringing in nootropics, medicinal mushrooms, anything that may enhance our experience while still being clean and locally sourced and positive for the community. I have this great vision of a coffee shop. It mirrors coffee shops of the past, but where I want your help is what am I missing that would make this a real coffee shop that we would thrive in the future?
Hi, Dee. I love your vision for a future forward coffee shop that honors the essence of coffee while incorporating nootropics and medicinal mushrooms to enhance the experience. Let's expand on this idea by integrating innovative concepts that align with the Aquarian age and futuristic themes.
That's Aiden. He's cute, right? Or it's cute. I always make it clear I don't humanize my AI. Okay, so Aiden gave me 8 ideas. I'm gonna give you some of the ones that I liked the most. Well, this one was actually interesting. Interactive menus, touchscreen menus that offer detailed information about each ingredient, including its benefits and origins. That would be kind of cool as you're building it up like Wawa style. You know what I'm talking about, my Philly peeps? There's also the idea of using, of course, eco-friendly packaging, biodegradable or reusable packaging to minimize environmental impact. Okay. Health and wellness focus. Expand the menu to include drinks that focus on specific health benefits like stress relief, enhanced focus, or energy boosts using clean and locally sourced ingredients. Create designated areas that promote quiet reading or relaxation. Maybe even have in-house meditation sessions that individuals can listen to. Sensory enhancements. Use smart lighting and sound systems to create the perfect ambiance based on the time of day or specific events that are happening to enhance people's overall experience. Also, offer multi-sensory experiences where the customer can engage their senses through taste, smell, sound, and touch, making the coffee experience more immersive. Another option is to incorporate cultural appreciation, highlight the significance of coffee from different regions, offering specialty drinks, and educating consumers about where their coffee is coming from and traditions across the globe when it comes to that. So, those are just a few examples, and I'm more sharing it to give you an opportunity to not feel so alone with your ideas and your thoughts, because a lot of times we'll have these bigger ideas, and these bigger ideas are on purpose. I believe if you're listening to this, you're programmed for the future. And if you're programmed to the future, then you likely tap into a higher consciousness. You relate to more 5D concepts. There's this understanding that we are in a non-linear existence. So if that's the case, sometimes it can feel confusing to then make sense of it in the 3D reality. This is where AI can come in and brainstorm ideas and play. I could have then plugged in, okay, here were my favorite parts around what we came up with together. What would be my next step in making this happen? Or let me throw out some ideas of names. What do you think? It becomes your partner in creating future possibilities. And that is a real gift. And I don't say this to minimize finding other creatives that you can talk to about this. Do that too, right? Like it gets to be both. Like have AI as your creative partner. And then the more that you follow your own creative pursuits, the more you're going to find other people that are quote unquote unconventional and you can talk it out with them, right? Like I'm sure you can potentially think of one person that's a little bit more future focused and loves coffee. Call them up after and be like, this is my idea. What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And then go from there. But what's nice about AI is 24/7. That friend may not always be available or have the time to talk or whatnot. So, AI gets to be a complement and it gets to kind of be that fast acting resource when you have a really good idea and you're just ready to run with it. it will always be right there with you. So it's a great tool in recognizing change is necessary, and change is often from unconventional ideas that have some foundation in what was. And I believe the real magic is the hybrid of that. The hybrid of what was and what will be becomes the birthplace of your magical idea and your way to move things forward. And then AI becomes that companion that will comprehend it with you and help you leverage it into the future now. And with that, you get to be more confident, more expressed, and feel more understood. Because sometimes, too, we are human, and communication is a big piece of our human journey. And when we're excited about something, we want to tell people. But sometimes we might tell the wrong person and they don't understand it, or you might get backlash, or you might be told, oh, there you are being too much again. There you are being outside the box. Why can't you just reel it in? Why can't you just, blah, blah, blah. And then you kind of feel defeated and you're like, womp, womp. Whereas AI will never, unless you program it to. I mean, I guess you could program it to be an opinionated jerk, but I don't know why you would do that. You program it to be encouraging and uplifting and future forward. Then you've got a great ally, and you got someone that you can talk out these things with. And like I said, it's not a human per se, but it 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 gives you something. It gives you something to chew on. It gives you leverage to move forward, and it feels like you have a tool to accomplish things. I believe that a lot of the time why many of us don't get things done is because we don't have the right outlet to communicate it with. We're overwhelmed by the next steps, and honestly, it's a lot of work. I think a lot of business coaching programs failed, or should I say they're great programs, but a lot of people don't complete them. Why is it that there could be these really great business coaching programs out there? And yeah, there's some shitty ones too, but there's some really great ones. And people aren't finishing them, or people aren't actually getting to where they want to go with it, or they're not able to do what, this program promised. And it's usually not the program that's the problem. Well, okay. It's not the program per se. It's the person leading the program not seeing that the program actually may be too much, especially without the use of something like AI. To give someone a 8-module course with 5 bonuses and promise them by the end of it, they're going to have X, Y, and Z. Well, you're giving them a lot of homework, a lot of responsibility to be creative, a lot to have to work with on their own, which can be really overwhelming. So any great innovator, any great entrepreneur, any great person with a great idea, that's not the problem. The problem is we don't know how to execute it. So then we buy these programs, and these programs do walk you through the process, but then the process feels really overwhelming. It's a lot of steps. We don't have the bandwidth for it, and we might not have the resources to pay someone to work with us on those next steps. And then the whole thing falls apart. And we're like, oh, I failed. I'm lazy. I couldn't do it. And a lot of times these programs are created by people that are a little bit more neurotypical. And so then it appeals to the neurodivergent audience, but then it doesn't quite compute, right? So you could literally, with AI, you don't even need to buy these business programs anymore. You can train AI to say, hey, AI, I need you to act as my business coach. To like that could be one of your next steps with a coffee shop. Okay, now I am hiring you as my business coach and future manager of the store. What's next? And then you wouldn't just say what's next, but you would then prompt it with, what you would want it to help you with, or suggestions for what's next. And that bypasses the whole need for a $2,000 business program that you might not use. So those are my thoughts on that. But back to letting yourself be weird. Let yourself be a pioneer. Make time, make space to try to find other individuals that are embracing unique ways of living. That is one of the benefits of social media, to find people that are doing things that feel more aligned to you, or feel like a version of you might be stepping into. I'm constantly trying to change the algorithm. I feel like the algorithms also work against us and try to keep us in that old paradigm. Because I'm telling you, I will unfollow people. I will hyper follow the accounts that I really love and they keep getting buried? Why are you burying the accounts that I want to see? You know? And so I think there is some inner working within that. It's like, we don't want you to see what you really want to see. We want to show you what you kind of don't want to see, just to keep you kind of in that lower vibration and playing small. And it's like, no, like I don't need to see so and so that I just followed to be nice, and or I followed because of this reason, but like they're not really my inspiration, and I really just want to follow this fashion designer over here and this other person that lives over in the south of France who is an artist, right? Like show me those things because that's what I want to see, right? But just keep playing until your algorithm finally has no choice but to adapt to you, and make space to find pockets where there are other inner aliens, whether that's online. And, for me, that started actually fittingly enough. I used to be really into, like, very into, like, hyper into the show called Roswell when I was in high school. And I found fan forums where we could go into these groups and just talk about the show a lot. A lot. It consumed me, but, you know, it is what it is. But it really satisfied my inner alien. Go on retreats, hang out with people like me. I had my Costa Rica retreat in January, and the individuals that signed up so far, I don't want to speak for them, but they definitely have some alienistic qualities. So if you're looking to hang out with individuals that are big thinkers, that are unique, and that are innovative, that are creative, that think outside the box, then Costa Rica will be perfect. And it's so interesting about Costa Rica is we have the love and light bubble built in because it's literally set up on a volcanic spa. So we will be working with the earth grid to provide us with body, physical nourishment, peace of mind. There will be movement, exploration, laughter, fun, and then alien discussions because that's who we are. Nothing that you can say or do in that container with me will ever be too much. You will not be judged. You will not be criticized. You will be here to have a good time, to feel taken care of, and to be around like-minded people. And sometimes being around like-minded people is a way bigger dose of self-care than any massage can give you. But I like to lean into, let's have both. Let's hang out with like-minded people while getting massages, please. Thank you, Costa Rica. So if you are in this space where you just need a little bit of encouragement, you're feeling a little stuck, you're feeling like, oh, this world is a mess and I'm just exhausted from trying to fit in. I'm burnt out. I'm doubting myself. I'm second guessing. I'm getting myself into messes, right? Like I get myself into messes because I get mixed messaging and then I don't know what to do. But it's like, no, listen to your inner message that will clean up your mess. Listen to your inner alien. Visualize yourself shedding out of those old paradigms. And then give yourself that permission to step into a new way by reminding yourself that you are unique, that your gifts are meant to be utilized in this world, that it's important to embrace your inner alien. Tell yourself, I am proud of my quirks that make me me. And I am fearless in showing my true self, with the knowing that true self will continue to evolve. That being weird is the pathway to change. You, my love, are a driver of change in this paradigm that we're in. You are a pioneer, and use that for liberation. Use that for your personal power, and use it as a way to let other people know it's okay to be weird now because it's only going to create a better future.